when you get laid off, fired, when you leave a job and it wasn't your decision to do it, it feels incredibly isolating. And so I want to talk about how you can be a rich relationship to people who are currently experiencing this in your life. And so I'm going to start this video by talking about what it actually feels like to be laid off or fired from a job. Because thankfully, not everyone in their life has experienced this, but yet there are still a lot of people that have. And I want to kind of give you insight as to what that feels like if you have no idea. Because when you get that call and you find out that your position is no longer part of a company in any way, shape, or form, it feels like someone just made a huge decision about your life for you. And it wasn't you. And that feels like a huge sucker punch and a gut punch at the same exact time. Rarely does anything prepare you for that in life. You feel purposeless. It's easy to slip into this feeling of feeling purposeless because the majority of our lives is spent working or contributing to something with our time. Even if you don't like the job, you're contributing to something. And then it just gets taken from you. Or so it feels like in the moment. It's really shattering in a lot of ways, and it shakes your confidence. It makes you question your value, which is definitely unhealthy. But if you think about it, it really becomes an internal crisis when something happens, because what is one of the questions you're asked growing up as a kid all the time? What do you want to be when you grow up? Why are we not changing the question to who do you want to be when you grow up? Because who you are is more than an employee or more than something that's career driven. Who you are is something that withstands regardless of the circumstances and the career choices that you may or may not make. And so it feels really hopeless. Like I'm just going to be honest. It really feels defeating when you don't feel like you have anything to do or anything to work for or work towards. So now that we have that context for what it feels like, you can understand why it's so important that people that are currently unemployed in your life need you. We have, the best of intentions sometimes when we hear someone's unemployed, but we start making comments that sometimes aren't very helpful. So before I share what you can do to be an incredible friend and step and walk alongside with someone that's currently unemployed and encourage them, I actually want to give you some phrases, actions to not do, or that in my experience I've found to be not helpful. So let's just go through those real quickly so we know where to improve. So whenever someone shares with you that, hey, I got laid off, hey, I got fired, I'm currently unemployed right now, one thing that's not helpful in the moment is saying, it'll work out. It's going to be all right. Now, I understand the intentions are good because you want to encourage someone, but it feels trite, just being honest, in the moment. We're going to go through ways which would be more helpful and better things to say, but definitely seeing someone and just acknowledging that you understand what they're going through and just saying, man, I'm so sorry. That's so hard. Starting there, that's a great starting point. Another phrase that isn't helpful is, man, like something is out there for you in perfect timing. Just comments like that, they're not helpful. Again, it feels trite and uninterested and almost as if you kind of want to remove yourself from that situation because you're not experiencing it yourself. Now, something that's interesting and could be extremely helpful or not helpful at all is saying the following: I'm going to be on the lookout for you. Now, that's extremely helpful if you are. But if you're just saying that to make someone feel better and you do not follow up on that whatsoever, never touch base or circle back, that is extremely unhelpful and harmful to that relationship because it's not showing someone that they can necessarily trust you and take you at your word, because people that are going through this want to know, or at least believe, that they're not alone. And they're not asking anybody to pull them out of it, okay? Speaking from experience. But just hearing someone say like, hey, I'm gonna be on the lookout because I care about this and I believe in you, that's a different story. That is exciting. And we trust that you are going to do that. But if that's not something that you can guarantee you're gonna do, don't say it. It's better to just say what you actually will do or what you actually mean. Another piece is just jumping in and trying to fix the situation. Not helpful, because we all want to be fully seen, fully heard, and oftentimes validated for what we're experiencing and going through. And so an example of just jumping in is, oh, have you applied for unemployment yet? Oh, have you looked on this site? Oh, have you? Oh, have you? You should. You should. Anything that starts with you should, whoo, not helpful in the moment. If you're asked, that's a different story. But when you are in a season of unemployment, you already feel enough pressure of things that you should be doing, as if you need to apply to 100 jobs a day. You need to make looking for a job your full-time job. We've heard all the quips before, so that actually could do more damage and add more pressure to the situation. So that's another one that I'd say. Another interesting thing is actually don't assume that the person is doing nothing at the moment. Now, this is something that you kind of have to feel out yourself based on the depth of the relationship, but it's definitely not a safe bet to just assume that the person is sitting around watching Netflix for 12 hours a day doing absolutely nothing. Definitely don't make that assumption. Ask questions, if anything. Those are just some things that are not ideal to hear, or the best choices to help someone that's currently unemployed